Okay, time to tackle the election results and exactly why this election was, for lack of a better term, a complete and utter failure on multiple fronts for a lot of people. The big issue is the fact that, depending on which poll you look at, the approval rating across this country for the current regime of politicians was between 10 and 15%. And yet, of the people who ran or re-ran for their offices, it was over 90% retainment. So even though we don't seem to approve of anybody, they all won. Okay, why is that? Well, there's a few reasons. Number one, poor voter turnout, which is kind of a standard in these days and times. And then there's ignorance, apathy. You got a ton of people who were simply voting by party lines. They're either voting all Republicans, all Democrats. They do not know the issues. They do not know who they're upset with. They don't even realize who's in charge, because most ballots don't actually say this is the incumbent. They just have names. And then sometimes they'll have the party next to them. If they have a party next to them, a lot of people, oh, it's Republican, bam, and they check it. Lord knows. We have a Republican in the House here, and leading up to this election, we must have got about 30 calls, always asking, have you turned in your absentee ballot? Are you voting? They're trying to get people out there without necessarily knowing the issues. So, in the end, a lot of these people have to have themselves to blame for the troubles they're about to have, the continuing troubles that they're going to have, because they basically put the same people right back into place. Now, of course, that's going to be masked by the fact that federal Congress has switched hands, went from Democrats to the Republicans, but that is kind of misleading. Then we'll get to the big issue that we have here in Florida. Medical marijuana. It failed. And, of course, I'm seeing the Facebook uproar on it. And it makes me chuckle. Why did it fail? Well, there's a few reasons. Number one, for people who actually read the bill, it was poorly laid out. It really was. I mean, yeah, okay, they took a grain of an idea, but then they went in, they didn't tighten it up. There were all kinds of potential for abuse and a lot of loose ends. It was a bad bill. Okay, so people who read it and understood it voted against it. Oh, the on the fencers. A lot of people that were on the fence voted against it. Why? Because of Facebook. Because of the zealots. Because there's potheads out there that were fighting for it. They were putting up false information about it and false facts and all these, the memes and the polls, which were illegitimate to begin with. And they drove a lot of the people who were on the fence and maybe wanted to know more, but didn't look into it because, this is for the potheads. We don't want this then. Because they saw it for how the potheads were looking at it. Potheads were looking at it as a step towards recreational use. Most of them, I'm not saying all of them, but most of them, they don't give a rat's ass about the medical aspects of it. They don't care if some terminally ill patient could benefit from it. They want it to be the next step so they can sit at home and they can smoke their joints and there's nothing illegal about it at that point. That's where they're leading. They can refute me all they want, but they're wrong, because that's what it is. So you lost the on the fencers. And the third part comes right down to what the drug does to everybody in general anyway. Most of these people who are all like, oh yeah, let's pass it, all these potheads, a good chunk of them didn't vote. Why? Because they were laying unconscious on their couch, or they were too high to deal with it, or couldn't afford to miss another day at work because they'd missed too many from being, stoned and calling in sick, and or they needed to make enough money to make their next score so that they could get stoned that weekend. So in a nutshell, that's what happened. That's where our problem is. And things just aren't going to change. Personally, it is the right of the American people to vote. It needs to be changed. It should be your duty to vote. And if you don't vote, you should be taxed or something. Punish the people that are lazy. Punish the people that are stoned. Punish the people that... Just plain ironic. Okay, I've said what I got to say on that. I'm sure I'll get a bunch of dislikes on this one. But, by my view, that's what happened. Peace out.